Okay, let's see. You're in the show. Okay, we're on. Hello, everyone. Hello. Happy Tuesday. We are back with another episode of Unlock the Science of Beauty. We took a month off. I was gonna say we had to take a couple of months off. We took a month off because we were busy programming, and now that we have wrapped that, we are back. So I'm so very excited for this episode that has been a few months in the making. Before we get started, definitely want to thank our hosts, Mayavana TV, for hosting us. They have been so gracious, and a great strategic partner for us since the inception of Unlock. So we are forever grateful for that. And so we have the first of its kind today on our episode, Miss Camille Cook. So Camille Cook is a family nurse practitioner. Girl, you got a lot of letters behind your name. I can't read. I can't read all that. Camille Cook is a family nurse practitioner with a clinical background in dermatology and the founder and CEO of Compassion RX Naturals, a patent pending all natural therapeutic skincare brand driven by her family's personal experience with chronic skin conditions, including her son's eczema and her husband's dialysis related skin complications. She developed the formulation now supporting individuals across the country managing eczema, psoriasis, rosacea, post-procedure skin, radiation-related irritation, and more. Her mission is grounded in clinical expertise and service, educating communities on skin health, providing natural alternatives to conventional treatments, and honoring the body through what goes on it. Camille holds a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing and is a board-certified family nurse practitioner, bringing both science and the heart to everything she builds. So thank you and welcome, Camille.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful. Let me give you my Korean heart. That's what I always do. And send in my love.
I love that.
I'm not Korean, but it's easier than trying to do this.
Yeah, right. Listen. Show me again how you do it. Okay.
You got it? It's your one. That's a whole nother. Okay, the dexterity is.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, exactly. I'm going to work on you with that one.
Thank you so much.
Your phalanges. We got to make your phalanges. Let me throw a medical term out there. We're going to get there. We'll help you.
Please. So we are so excited to have you on. Before we came on camera, Camille and I were just talking because Camille was one of the people that saw the science of beauty when it was just a thought on a piece of paper. It's a group of us ladies that were based here in Tampa, and we would get together and have dinner and have lunch and just connect and exchange resources and things like that. And she was actually one of my very first guest speakers that came in and spoke to the girls about dermatology and skin health. And so for us to be having this conversation 5 years later and where we both are and what we've both been able to accomplish in that short period of time, I'm just really, really excited. So welcome.
Well, thank you so very much. Yes, that was a beautiful introduction and our divine connection, just how we have started out and grown. And like I said, just to see each other spread our wings and do great things for people and sharing the compassion.
Yes, sharing the compassion. Yeah. So let's get into it.
Okay.
So, I spoke a little bit in your bio about your journey and how you came to creating Compassion RX. So your journey started as a nurse practitioner, not a beauty entrepreneur.
Right.
And honestly, through this journey of mine on the science of beauty, I've met a few founders. Two that stick out in my mind, Shayna Rainford from Baskin Lather, and then Sherelle Sampson from Canvy. Those are two that stick out in my mind that are beauty founders that started off as nurse practitioners. So you didn't start off as a beauty entrepreneur. So what was the moment that you realized you weren't treating a skin condition, but you were being called to create like a solution for a problem?
You're right. I never set out to become a beauty entrepreneur. As a beginning as a nurse and then as a nurse practitioner, caring for people and helping them, heal from the inside out. It was in clinical practice where I would see people struggling with their dry, itchy, cracked, inflamed, uncomfortable skin. And then even when I was trying to address the underlying condition, the turning point really came when the problem was in my home. It came to my doorstep, right? It was my son who struggled with eczema, but before I became a nurse back in the day with Florence Nightingale, I would just see him scratch and lose sleep and feel uncomfortable and didn't want to take showers. And I just thought, he's being a boy.
He's a
He's just
boy.
being funky, right? Okay, no, boy, get in the shower and get to washing, right? Stop playing.
Right.
And then, it was my husband, who was going through kidney dialysis, and his skin was compromised and it was dry and it was irritated, and him living with the kidney disease. So, as a nurse practitioner, I understood the science and the physiology, but then as a mom and a wife, I wanted to create that comfort and that relief and that hope and that dignity, right? So that's when I realized that moment that I didn't want to just recommend another steroid, another product. I was being, called to create something that was a compassionate solution, So really, the mission became personal.
Yeah.
It was, the true love of my lives, the one that I married, that I've known for since I was 21. That stalked me. No, I'm just playing. there's a joke behind
I gotta get what I need. I can't. I'm leaving here with something.
Right. Okay. So it was, like, again, the two love of my lives. It was my son and, my husband.
Yeah.
And so, it just really transformed that, skincare from a clinical into a family love story.
Yeah, that's amazing. And
Yeah.
when you hear founder stories of, that have developed products and things like that, it typically stems from a issue that they had or an issue that someone close to them had. And
Right.
they had the scientific and the practical solution for it as it relates to, being in the medical space. So they knew how to kind of diagnose it, but not so much how to treat it. So I think
Absolutely.
now that theme is starting to run through a lot of founder stories about
Mhm.
how they actually got into this space. Like they didn't set out to do this. You were just trying to help your son and
Right.
your husband, right?
Right. Exactly. It was just kind of like, yeah, these are the two people that I love the most. But then, compassion just wouldn't let me just stop there. I had to serve the further. I had to keep it. I didn't want to just keep it only for them. It was also the encouragement of my husband. He was like, "Hey, you've got to give this to other people. You've got to put your foot, your fingerprint into other people's hearts." So yeah, so that's how
No, that's
I did it.
amazing. That
Yeah.
that's amazing because one thing when I'm talking to my students and about business and whether you're deciding to start a business, it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you think that you're the only person with this problem,
Mhm.
right? A
Mhm.
million people have the same problem. You've just been called to solve it. So
Correct. Correct.
that's important. So your son's eczema and your husband's dialysis related skin complications became deeply personal motivations for you to start this brand. How did that experience shape not only your product but your purpose?
Um, skin concerns are just never only skin deep. The visible conditions can also affect your sleep, their self-esteem, your confidence, relationships, the clothes that you wear or try to wear, or just it's whether someone can feel seen, make them feel comfortable to be seen, right? But I saw the frustration, the discomfort, the embarrassment, that came with the chronic skin conditions, from my son and my husband, both dealing with those challenges. So my purpose just became larger, than creating just softer skin. It was helping people, like I said, to feel seen and to feel valued and comfortable and cared for. So um, yeah, every ingredient and every decision that I made for the product was shaped by asking the question, why would I feel comfortable, or would I feel comfortable having this, using this on people that I love? If it worked for them, then hopefully it can work for someone else. So that's it. It's not just simply a beauty product, though. It's rooted in science and caregiving and compassion.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And I just remember, at an early age, my grandmother, she always, both of them, always, were very stern with me about how I took care of my skin, right?
Mhm, mhm.
As far as how I clean my skin, how I moisturize my
Right,
skin, like if I had a scar or something, like let's take care of that immediately, because you don't want to have all these discoloration and things like that on your skin, the hyperpigmentation, you know
right.
make sure that the things that you do to your face, you do it to your neck, so now that there's not
Yeah.
how grandmas are about that neck, girl,
Yeah.
like
Okay. Tracy Ellis. I mean, Nia Long. Yes. Yes. Yes.
say about that neck, them elbows, them knees,
All that.
and so, and even now, like in my older age, I have hyperpigmentation like up under my arms. And
Yeah.
so like my arms up under my arms are darker. And
Hmm.
I never really paid it attention until I did start paying it attention. And then it was kind of like, like you said, I'm thinking about what I'm wearing. I'm thinking about how I'm
Yeah.
showing up. I'm
Yeah.
thinking about this discoloration, and now I'm starting to treat it, because it is, a hindrance or a barrier, for you kind of showing up as your
Yeah.
full self. I tell my students all the time, you get one layer of skin,
Yep.
take care of it, protect
Yeah.
it. It's no use. You can't get another, you can't buy another set. Like this is it. So
Right. Right.
take care
Right.
of it.
You
So
can't go to Nordy Rack, but I
right,
mean, yeah.
right.
And so we'll have to talk about that because I have something. I just did my own, show myself some compassion, because I just had a situation where I had contact dermatitis, irritation, and I literally just did videos of showing how I had burnt my underarms with shaving, and then it became dry and cracked and inflamed, and because I had put on some um, deodorant, some new deodorant, and so it burnt my skin. So I was like, you know what? I got to show myself some compassion. And so I literally used my own product, and it's actually remarkable. I was like, girl, let me fix my brain, okay? Because I mean, I use it as a daily moisturizer, but I had a situation that I needed it, so it definitely lightened. But I have so we'll talk.
Sign me up. I want to do the clinical trial. I will do
Okay,
I want to be
come
the
on.
clinical. I want
Yeah.
to do the clinical trial.
Okay.
Please
There's
sign me
that.
up.
I
Yeah.
mean, I had to, in order for it to be patent pending, I had to do a focus group. And so, yeah, getting into the clinical research is the next thing.
We gonna talk. I got
Okay. I got you.
so okay.
I'll write the script for you.
So many
Oh, we
people
just violated HIPAA. No, you said it, so it's okay.
many people run into a problem and search for a product. You decided to become the person that created one. Where
Yeah.
did you find the confidence to believe and say, I can solve this? I know you said your husband gave you a lot of encouragement, but what are
Mhm.
some other things that you can point back to as confidence builders as you taking this next step?
Um, I consider myself a solutionarian. You know, solutionarians are people that just don't stop at identifying a problem. Those are the people who, I ask those thoughtful questions. I study, the situation. it just becomes part of the solution. So, my first response is basically, how can I help? What can I learn from? you
Mhm.
know and what solution can I create to help them with their situation, because compassion really means, the definition is recognizing another person's pain or their distress or their suffering, and then in responding with care, kindness, and meaningful action. So that's the reason behind the name of Compassion RX Natural is because I recognized my loved ones' pain and their distress, and I had to I listened, and I was asking those questions to my son and my husband, and then I just responded with that care and kindness. It's the fundamental aspect of human kindness is compassion. So that definition basically is everything that I do every day of life, from being a healthcare person to an entrepreneur. Um, it's, yeah, it's really solving the problem. Being in healthcare has taught me to assess and, to research, evaluate, talk to my patients, adjust the plan if it doesn't work,
Yeah.
pivot, keep
Pivot.
working until we find something.
Yeah.
So, I really didn't begin with, with perfect confidence, but, I began with a commitment. I wanted to lift that car up off of my son and my husband.
Yeah.
And, the confidence just kind of grew as people started using the product, and they shared their experience about how it transformed their skin. So it was just my mindset as being a solutionarian.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that because some of the things that you shared is aligned with how I operate in my space. Like you said, you didn't start out with perfect confidence, right?
Right. Right.
Like you're a nurse practitioner, you're a dermatologist, right? You're not a
Mhm.
business person, you're not an entrepreneur. The same with me. I came from a fashion background. I have, I'm not a STEM girl, I'm not a chemist or anything like that. And
Right.
people always say, like, oh my God, Sakia, you're so confident. And like you said, it's about stacking small wins, right? Like
Absolutely.
that's how you gain confidence. You don't just wake up with this overwhelming, amount of confidence. It's more so like you do a thing, the thing works, you build upon the thing that works, and you just keep building and keep stacking. So I'm really glad that you shared that with the audience, because I think that's one of the things that prevents people from going after their dreams, like whatever it is. It's the fear of not getting it right on the first time. And it's like, honey, that's just not the way it goes. Like I tell people, every GOAT, every legend was a rookie.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
LeBron didn't come out being great. Like
No.
that's not
No.
how it goes. But people have this misconception, of what they want it to be. And it's like if you want something perfect, you have to perfect it,
Yeah.
right? You have to
Yeah.
go through trial and error. You have to go through
Yep.
things that work and don't work,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think that's really important that you talked about that. So
Right.
to kind of, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I mean, I'm just piggybacking off what you said, that, confidence did not come first, it was just the commitment that I, had to help being a solutionarian for, my son and my husband. The confidence followed.
Yeah.
No one's going to be perfect. You just gotta, what do they say? If you fall down, you gotta get back up and try again,
Yeah.
right? You're gonna have several iterations.
Yep.
Yeah, facts.
Work. It's work.
It's work.
It's
It's
work.
work.
It's work.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time, it's you gotta work real hard to live a soft life. This
Yes.
life myth that y'all got going on. No. The girlies have worked really hard to be able to get
Yep.
there. And that's the part that they miss. So
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
glad that you spoke on that. So kind of switching gears a little bit and going more into the entrepreneur side. So the
Hmm.
beauty industry is filled with trends and marketing claims. How do you ensure Compassion RX Natural stays rooted in evidence instead of just hype?
Um, you know, I feel that it's value what you're bringing to the table. That it being still being, a practicing family nurse practitioner, and seeing patients, listening to their concerns and assessing their skin. The clinical connection, keeps me focused on people's needs and not just trends, So I don't want Compassion RX Naturals to chase what's viral. I want it to remain valuable to people. But, so evidence matters, and but so does, integrity, and transparency, consistency, safety, honest communication. So it's our goal is to create naturally better skincare, but to share compassion without exaggerating what any product can do. So again, I'm not chasing viral. I'm committed to doing what is valuable, because I'm talking about a person's largest organ.
Yeah.
Right. I'm talking about what people see. I'm talking about their health, because what goes on top goes inside your body as well. And what is inside comes out. So, that's where I feel like I don't want to chase those trends and those marketing claims by doing something that would compromise someone else's or jeopardize someone else's health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the girlies get caught up in the marketing claims and in the trend, it's product does this, and this, and it does none of that. Right. So it does not one of those things that you stated. And that's where I think beauty is going, right? Because the consumer is now becoming more aware. They're becoming more educated about the products that they're using. So now, it's not about the virality. It's not about the hype. It's not about the noise, right?
Yep.
It's actually about the product. And that's where it should always be, about the product. And so, just to know that the product is backed by science, is backed by data, right? Like it has a person that is certified to be in this space and talk about this type of issue at the helm, right? So that validity. I say validity is gonna outweigh virality every day of the week. So
absolutely it will.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. And then, like, in this TikTok era, that we find ourselves in, we have to really, be careful about the messaging that you're putting out about your product. Because like you said, you want to be here for a long time. You're here for a long time, not a good time.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So kind of sticking to like the marketing kind of theme of the last question. Like I said, Camille and I go back years, and we've seen each other grow and scale our businesses, different iterations of our business. Right. So talk to me a little bit about the rebranding of Compassion, because it wasn't called that initially, right?
Yeah.
So the initial name was Creamy Crack, right? Which I thought was catchy. I was like, I knew exactly what it was when you said it, right? But when you're putting a product out for the masses, right? You want a name or a brand that's universally recognized and accepted, right? So Creamy Crack eventually became Compassion's RX Naturals. So talk to us a little bit about that rebranding and why you rebranded and what led to the rebrand of the product.
Well, prayer is a powerful thing, first of all. When you ask for something, you better be prepared for the answer, and listening and being obedient. So, I had several conversations with people, asking me, about the name. And I'd always kind of ask them, well, what do you think the name means to you? And men saw it one way. They saw it sexual. The African American, Black and brown community that had heard it from Chris Rock, or we knew it from obviously pharmaceutical or unfortunately drugs, the streets. So I really had to take a step back and say, Camille, you're a healthcare provider. it don't look good for you to sell
Yeah.
crap.
Wow.
Okay, that's not what we're trying to do. That's not what we're trying to, put out here on these
You
streets.
got a lot of letters behind your name. You didn't do all that to get out here and sell crap.
Okay. I was like, either from the rooter to the tutor, either crack, whatever crack you talking about, right? From the men going to the sexual. But it was actually funny because what had happened was, I had a shirt on, a t-shirt on, and this guy asked me. I was at a function, and he was like, I said, "Oh, I forgot my driver's license," and he was like, "Oh, don't worry about it." He was like, "Is that your brand that you're wearing?" And I said, "Yeah," and he goes, "Well, I'm gonna remember your creamy crack." I was like, now if it would have been, Denzel or Idris Alba or somebody else, I'd have been like, okay.
You gotta be like, okay. But not this weirdo.
But not this, exactly. So I was like, wait, what message am I trying to send? Right. And then, I knew about the product, of our relaxers and how that some people, unfortunately, was damaged because of the relaxers in their hair. Mm-hmm. And so again, coming back from me and the person that I am,
oh, we have a little freezing on Camille. Hopefully she comes back. Let's see. Let me ping her real quick. Let me see. Sorry, guys. Just a little technical difficulties. But let's see if she gets back.
I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know either. You just froze.
Like you went out. I went out completely.
Okay.
It's getting ready to storm here, but okay. I don't know. But you're pixelated.
Okay. Can you see me now?
Nope. Now I can.
Okay.
You're back. Okay. All right. And sing. Okay.
Start from beginning.
All right. Take two. Here's the love. Okay. So those situations, those experiences, led me to really sit back and think. And, I asked my team, I said, hey, this is not what I'm about. I don't want people to think that this product is you're addicted, right? That's why we had kind of named it that, and I got it trademarked and everything. But it was something that, my husband and son were fighting over it. So that's how the name came, because he was like, son, give me that stuff your mom made. And I was like, y'all are acting like crackheads. So that's how Creamy Crack, because I was like, y'all are tripping. And it was taking me so long to make it, 10 hours. I'd come home from work and going through iteration after iteration. And so my husband was like, yeah, but it's so good. And then, our neighbors, and then they were calling, hey, Camille, can we get some more? Our family, can we get some more? So that's how it really genuinely became Creamy Crack.
You crapping out the house.
Right. But then I was like, trying to fight it, because I was like, I see, liquid death, I see other things like, the slutty vegan, and I'm not hating on them, but I was kind of like, okay. And then now I'm seeing stuff popping up where people have restaurants or have meals or dishes that have the word crack in it, in San Diego. So I was like, but then again, because of what I do as, a profession, it's just not cute to be trying to sell some crack, creamy or not.
I'm thinking about exiting. When you building a scale and you kind of looking at the exit strategy, you like,
I
don't know if Procter and Gamble want to buy no crack. So
that part, right.
And then I feel like, by you changing the name or rebranding to Compassion RX, and then really, building the story, or not even building the story, because the story was already there, right? Yeah. But telling the story and aligning it with the story, it just made more sense, right? Because like you said, the foundation of you developing this product was from a place of compassion for
Correct.
your husband and your son. And so yeah, girl, you
Yeah.
just gotta be obedient. We can't be asking for stuff and then because we don't like the answer, we just gonna buck. No, you gotta no,
Exactly.
it's not how it goes.
Exactly. Exactly.
You
So
gotta
I
be
was like,
ready.
okay.
Yeah.
And then someone, I was being interviewed and they kept asking me tell me about yourself. And the word compassion just kept coming up. I
Yeah.
was like, this is just me.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to help somebody through their challenge because
Mhm.
everyone is going through a challenge, in their life, whether it's financial, whether it's spiritual, whether it's
So
physical,
yeah.
their skin. So,
Mhm.
yeah. So
No,
that's these
I
are the prescription for compassion.
listen, I love that. I
Thank you.
love that. That's a great story. Um, we often say on this show that beauty is one of the greatest gateways into STEM. From
Yeah.
your perspective, what scientific careers exist behind every skincare product that most people never think about?
Well, let's talk about the acronym, the STEM. The S is for science, and that's where the study of how, for me, how the skin functions, and the ingredients that go into it, inflammation, how healing occurs. So science is the study of things, how things function. So that's the S in STEM.
Mhm.
Then you have the T for technology. So we're looking at the tools and the systems and how we use research and tests, and manufacturing. And then you have the E, for
Hearing.
engineering,
Mhm.
right? So you're designing the equipment, the production processes, packaging systems. And then you have the M for mathematics, where you're looking at the measurements, the ratios, the statistics. That class, statistics. Anyway, the quality control, right? So,
Yeah.
all those come together. We call it the interdisciplinary team. That's where you have those different fields that come together, with their expertise for one goal, right? To accomplish one shared goal.
Mhm.
So, you have many specialists behind a skincare product. So you have the chemist, you have the biochemist, you have dermatologists, nurse practitioners, you have physicians, nurses, clinical researchers, statisticians,
Mhm.
um, regulatory specialists, quality assurance, manufacturing, patent
Supply
attorneys,
chain.
patent attorneys,
Yeah.
uh, packaging engineers, supply chains, like you
Yeah.
said. So STEM is not just somebody wearing a lab coat, a
Right.
white coat. It's sometimes the science that has gone into, for me, into the jar that
Right.
helps someone feel, comfortable, in their skin. So um, STEM encompasses, it's it's those careers that I just mentioned,
Yeah.
behind, every skincare product or beauty product or anything that's out on the market, that
Yeah.
you once you see it on the shelf, you're like, people don't think all of the things that went into to get it on the shelf, or all
Correct.
the people.
All.
Yeah.
ALL.
Oh, I mean, so many people contribute to
Yeah.
get that product to
To
reach
market.
the consumer,
Yep.
to market.
No, no, for sure. And over the summer, I've really been leaning into when I'm doing my presentations for my programming, I've really been leaning into more so the entrepreneur side
Mm,
of the beauty industry. We had a guest a few months ago, Kenta. Her name is Kenta Gates, and she's
okay.
VP of supply chain for Glossier. And Glossier is like everybody knows, like a big cosmetic brand.
Mhm.
And she said something very, kind of profound to me. And it was more so like, the supply chain is the heart of
Oof.
any industry, right? And there's so many things that can happen that are outside of your control, right?
Yeah.
Like we can have a political climate that can affect your supply chain. We just went through that with these tariffs and all this stuff that was, put into effect. So now,
Yeah. Yeah.
packaging, everybody gets their packaging from China. I don't care what the brand is, everybody gets their packaging from there, right? So it's like now you have this issue with China. Now your stuff is getting stuck at the border, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was really eye-opening to see those things happening in real time because like
Mhm.
you said, as a consumer, when we go to Ulta or we go to Sephora and just grab a product off of the shelf, we're
Right.
not thinking about the research. We're not thinking about the patents that had to go into this. We're not thinking about the attorneys that had to look at the regulatory stuff or the lobbyists that had to go to the Capitol to advocate for, tougher testing. And one thing that I'm getting into now is clinical research. Like you had spoke on that. There's a clinical research firm that I'm going to be working with in the upcoming months. They wanted to do some tests, some dermatology testing. So that's why I said, girl, we might have something.
Yes,
And I
we need to talk.
remember when I first spoke to them, I didn't see the importance of clinical research, right? And
Mm.
so she was like, Sakia, when you're on the phone with your um credit card company, and at the end of the call, they say, would you like to take a
It's serving.
2-question survey? What do you do? I said, girl, hang up. And she was like, see, that's clinical research. And when she explained it to me, like, for example, you can go to a Procter and Gamble or a L'Oreal and say, hey, we have this demographic of consumers that need this type of product, right? The first
Mhm.
thing that they're going to say is show me the data. Show
Yep.
me the data where you're saying 1 million people have this same product before we invest time, energy, resources on developing this product. And
Right.
a lot of us as African Americans, we don't participate in clinical trials. We
Hmm.
don't. So
Yeah.
that data isn't there for the things that we need. So I'm really glad that people like you are speaking up and speaking out about the importance of clinical research because that's the only way that you get products that are designed to work for you, right?
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
advocate for that and you have to speak up and say this is what I need so
Yeah.
that these companies can produce and develop them. And if not, then we just do it on our own because that's just what we do.
Yeah. That's what. That's just exactly what we do.
What we
But
do.
yes, there is a method to our madness, and we have been unfortunately scarred from the Tuskegee
Yes.
experiment, back in the day and things. Um, but now we have to look at it from the standpoint of, how can we move the needle or move forward to get things that will help our skin or help our system or help our hair or help our whatever, if we are not getting involved into these studies or clinical research to see how it the efficacy, and not look at it as a bad thing, look at it as, what, maybe I'm gonna get some relief.
Yeah,
Let's
maybe.
right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And in this summer, we participated at a program at Tuskegee. Tuskegee is the newest HBCU to offer a cosmetic chemistry program. They'll start incoming students this fall. And
Okay.
so we were a part of their agri beauty programming because they're really big on agriculture. I don't know if you've ever been to Tuskegee, but it's just land and land and land and land.
Mm.
But just being there and like you said, understanding the history of Tuskegee, the
Yeah.
pyramid, the Tuskegee Airmen, all these
Yeah.
things, and like you said, this has really scarred Black people. We are fearful of doctors and
Yeah.
physicians going and
Yeah.
going to the doctor. We don't trust them. And
Yeah.
so that's something that also prevents us, like you said, from moving forward and doing
Hmm.
things that are going to help us. And so I think, now our job is to reframe what healthcare looks like, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and show it in a different way. And when you have these things happening to African Americans when they go in to the doctor, when women go in to have babies and they don't make it out, that's very frightening. And
Yeah.
so I just think it's important for us, and that was the reason why I even started the Science of Beauty, because I wanted young girls to go from being consumers to innovators.
Yes.
If you
Yes,
don't
girl.
have advocacy at the bench when people are formulating these products, they're not going to work for you because there's no representation there to advocate for you. And so that's the reason really why I started this program, so that they can be, in the rooms or at the bench,
Mm-hmm.
things
Mm-hmm.
when these things are happening. So I think that's super important.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay, so every founder has moments when quitting feels easier than continue. Girl, I quit like 6 times last week. I was like, I'm good. I done slammed the laptop down, like I'm done. When has been your hardest season as an entrepreneur, and what kept you moving forward?
Girl, I've been right there with you. Okay, like Lord Jesus, why? What am I doing? Why do you have me doing this? Oh my goodness!
Right.
But my hardest season has been building, building this organization, this business, this brand, while my family has been navigating, a life changing medical journey.
Yeah.
With my husband recently. Who we hoped for that would have had his third kidney transplant. Unfortunately, it was not successful, couldn't be completed, right? So he, you know, basically died on the table and was in ICU. And so instead of, him returning home with a kidney transplant, um, he's back on dialysis and faced with, additional complications and procedures and recovery. So he's now awaiting his fourth kidney transplant. So, at the same time, I've had to be, his, obviously I'm still his caregiver, but a caregiver to him, a mother to my teenage daughter, a mom still to my son who's, married and doing very well. And as a family nurse practitioner, caring for other people. And building both of these businesses, not only Compassion RX Naturals, but Compassion RX Health and Wellness, my virtual practice. And so there's definitely been moments where exhaustion, fear, disappointment, uncertainty, and stopping felt like it could be so much easier. Yeah. What am I doing? Really. But then I got to look at, my faith, my family, my purpose, and understanding, that compassion is the most necessary thing when life becomes the hardest.
Yeah.
So knowing that my teenage daughter is watching me and how I respond, my patients, when they come in and they see somebody that looks like them, it's the same color. I see the, oh my goodness.
I'm safe. Like I'm safe.
Right. Exactly. And they'll be like, Doc, I didn't know. Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, that, seeing, my husband's, perseverance, reminds me that, resilience is not the absence of pain, right? But it's just continuing to love and to, serve and believe, through it all. So, compassion doesn't, disappear when life becomes difficult. That's when it becomes most visible.
Yeah. Wow. That's
the hardest. Yeah. My hardest season right now as an entrepreneur and traveling and being gone from my husband, and while he's, trying to get to dialysis 3 times a week and being kept alive by a machine. And unfortunately, our community, doesn't realize that hypertension and diabetes are the number 1 and 2 causes for your kidneys to fail, and for you to not urinate, and for you to build up with toxins, and then for you to potentially, die. And so managing, your weight, your health, your stress, your sodium intake, the foods that you eat is critical. It's imperative, right? So that hardest season as an entrepreneur is things that are behind the scenes that people don't necessarily see.
Yeah. And that's, first off, just wow. I think anybody would see that as a reason to, like you said, like it would be so much easier if I just said, I'm cool on all of this,
Yeah.
But in the end, you set out to do something that is bigger than yourself, right? And
Yeah.
so with that comes a lot of responsibility, and that's something that I'm going through as well. But one thing that you said that just resonated with me, within the African American community, health, the importance of great health, is undervalued as it relates to everything else that we're taught in our community. It's not something that's put at the forefront. We're not the active group of people. We're not working out. We're not eating properly.
Mm-hmm.
People don't even drink water. I'm like, how can you not drink water? Like, I don't like 95% of the things that I consume is water. I
Yeah.
couldn't imagine not drink, the sodium intake, the salt intake, the sugar, all of these things that are harming us. And the effect is health, chronic health issues
Detrimental.
that, yeah, and is
Yeah.
detrimental,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I recently just, lost someone that I knew from kidney failure, of very young. He just
Mm.
passed away Sunday, and he might have been 40,
Mm.
40, maybe 41. And
Mm.
it's
I'm so sorry.
like, yeah, that's young. That's
It
it,
is young.
it's crazy. And
Yeah.
and I just
And I would say that, my husband's end stage renal disease didn't come from diabetes and hypertension. He was diagnosed when he was 18 from strep throat that did not resolve. So,
really,
yes. So, you take the medication and you don't complete it. Do you know how many people come into the practice and they're like, but I have this. Did you finish your medication? No. Okay, you're on hypertensive medication. Are you taking it every day? Well, only when it's called the silent disease for a reason. So you are diabetic. What was your food diary? What'd you eat? I had this fast food or this hot dog or this blah, 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 or this
yeah,
candy bar. And I'm like, I can't want it more than you.
yeah.
Do you like your limbs? Do you want to be around for your family? Do you want to be?
Yeah,
So yeah, education is real.
it
When
is.
you know better, you do better.
Yeah, and we do that a lot. Like, as soon as you get prescribed some medicine, as soon as you think you feel better, I ain't taking it no more. I'm good.
Yeah.
Not what the doctor told you to do
Yeah.
or prescribes you to do. It's until I feel better. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
So that
Wow.
was it. Yeah.
That's
So
eye-opening.
that was my husband. But to
Oh,
answer your
well.
question, this has been one of the harder seasons.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. So, looking back, what did nursing teach you about leadership and entrepreneurship that business school probably just couldn't?
Whew. Nursing taught me to really listen before I lead. You got to look at the whole person, not just the obvious symptoms. Right? It Nursing taught me critically to be able to critically think, adaptability, communication, advocacy. Right? Because I had to be an advocate for my husband when he just went through this unsuccessful kidney transplant. So I'm talking to 3 surgeons. Thank God I have the science background because they were saying a lot of stuff, and most layperson wouldn't have understood, or I was able to ask them questions,
Yeah.
to challenge them. Accountability, resilience. So, but leadership, you got to make sure that you're not pretending to have all the answers.
Right.
Right. Leadership is about being able to say, I don't know.
I don't know
Because I don't know everything about, there is drugs that come out every minute. And so sometimes the patients know before we know. So when they come in, I'll be like, I didn't know.
I ain't heard of that.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. Like everybody, as much as I would like everybody to know about Compassion RX Naturals, they don't know about Compassion RX Naturals, right? And neither does my colleagues.
Yeah.
So, you got to be able to learn. You got to be able to grow when you're being a leader, right? So that honesty is just builds trust, right? And creates space for better decision making. It's about serving the further, what I like to say is serving the further, sharing that specialized knowledge, and it's meaning reaching back, for the person behind you, not looking down at them.
Yeah.
Leadership is that, just remaining humble, excited to learn from people whose experiences are different from your own.
Mhm.
Um, it's the best. I really feel like the best leaders, they don't just collect the knowledge, they circulate their knowledge with compassion, right? I mean, so we look at the Oprah Winfrey's, we look at um, Lord have mercy, I just watched that. Oh, don't forgive me. 6 7 hit. With The Pursuit of Happiness.
Okay. Well, Will Smith.
Yeah. Just that, how they they're leaders, and they don't sit back and just collect knowledge. Hopefully they're circulating. We're looking at Jay-Z's and Beyonce's, and trying to do great things for other people.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's being, it's confident enough to guide people, but humble enough to learn, and compassionate to serve the further.
Yeah, those are soft skills that I think, that you just have to develop as a human, right? Like, just to be a better person all around. Those are soft skills that I feel like everyone should lean into. And, like you said, leadership isn't about how much you can obtain and reserve and hold on for yourself. It's how many more people can you impact with what you've learned and been able to do.
For
And
sure.
that's how you tell the measure of your impact. It's not what you can hoard for yourself.
Right.
Like, okay,
Right.
you got $1 trillion. What do you need $1 trillion for, sir? You know what I mean? How many other people can you help and can you inspire? So those are things, like I said, those are soft skills that I just feel like it just makes you a better person.
Absolutely.
So wrapping up, and if you guys have any questions, we'll have a few moments maybe at the end to answer some questions. So you can put them in the chat box, and either myself or Camille can answer your questions. So if a young woman watching today's dreams of becoming both a healthcare professional and a founder, what advice would you give her before she starts?
Ooh. Make sure that your purpose is always bigger than your product.
Ooh.
Your purpose should always be bigger than your product. But, stay curious, ask questions, never be too proud to ask questions, protect your integrity.
Yeah.
Because your reputation is going to be in the room before you do.
Before you get there. Yep.
Find mentors that um, that you're inspired by, but don't try to copy them.
Yeah.
Don't copy somebody else. Be inspired. Understand that there is a difference between being inspired, right, by someone. It might be your mentor, but don't try to copy them.
Yeah.
You're unique for a reason. Start solving a real problem for real people. I would say protect your IP.
Girl.
Understand it. Yeah. There's people that, just people. Anyway, we're going to move past that. Yes.
We're going to have a whole other conversation about that. Maybe the people at the trademark office right now, they want me to pull up on them in Virginia, because I think they in Virginia. They want me to pull up on them. I'm like, look, like, why? I don't want to do this. And one thing that you said that is super important is be inspired, right? Be inspired, but don't try to copy, because it's not going to work for you the same way. That's not how it goes. Like, ever since I started this program, there's been so many people that have tried to do iterations of it. And it's like, hey, I'm here for all of it. I didn't create STEM, I didn't create beauty, but I know who I am and I know what I'm capable of doing. So I just got my head forward and I'm just walking my path. I'm not letting anybody rush my process.
Yep.
I'm not looking
Oof.
left to right to see what's going on.
Yep.
I'm working within my means, and I'm building my team. I'm
Mhm.
building my reputation, my brand equity. Like
Yep.
you said, your reputation will speak and be in the room before you get there. A clean reputation is 50% of the battle, right?
Yep.
Because
Yep.
people want to do business with people that they like, know, and trust. And so you have to protect that, at all costs.
Right.
So we
For sure.
have rapid fire really quickly. And then we have some questions in the chat that we'll take to wrap us up and take us out of here.
Okay.
So what's one skincare ingredient everyone should know about?
Ooh, one that does not contain parabens,
Okay.
or does not contain alcohol,
Okay.
or water, which is your number one and two ingredients on most of every product.
Yeah.
Um, and because those thin the skin, and it also makes the product go a lot longer, but then
Okay.
you're having to reapply,
Yeah.
because of the alcohol is drying,
Yeah.
and you think that you're putting it back, the water would be putting back in the moisture, but um, that would be something that I would say that you would need to try to look that it doesn't have.
Stay
But
away from.
preservatives have to be in some of the products in
Yeah.
order to maintain that shelf life.
Yeah. For sure.
So I would say compassion also is one that is a big ingredient that when it's sitting in that on that shelf in a retail store, that you're like, okay, man, now that I understand that there's STEM behind this, what was the purpose for the person that
Yeah.
created it? Do you know every founder that created a product? Do you
Right.
know about their story, their
Story.
why?
Yeah. 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 Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea,
Okay.
decaf.
What's one beauty myth you wish would disappear forever?
Oh, uh, one that it's made for all people, for
Right.
everybody.
Cause how? How,
Can't,
Sway?
can't. One
How?
size don't fit all.
It does not.
Nope, at all.
Finish this sentence. Success means
Learning and growing, challenging yourself.
nice, nice. I like that. I like that. So we have a question in the chat. What is something you wish you knew at the beginning of starting your business?
uh, the strength is not pretending that everything is okay.
Yeah.
You're going to have to ask questions. You're going to have to listen.
Yeah.
You're going to have to, um, again, going back to having compassion and making sure that your purpose for starting something is bigger than the product.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's dope. That's dope. Well, that's our time here. I am so
Thank you.
excited. This was amazing, Camille. So
Thank you so very
tell
much.
everyone, what do you have coming up, where they can find you, where they can find Compassion RX, your
Okay.
website, your socials. Go.
All right. Well, you guys, if you want naturally better skincare, you can find me on all socials at Compassion RX Naturals. You can find me at my website, Compassion RX Naturals. And for those people who are struggling with perimenopause, menopause, postmenopause, in a golf term, the back nine of your life, if you're women that are going through these challenges, if you're men who are struggling with low testosterone or hormones, and that weight management, I am starting my new telehealth practice, where you get supportive care from me at Compassion RX Health and Wellness. So compassionrxnaturals.com is where you can go to my website and you can learn more about the science behind the beauty of sharing compassion.
I love this. I love this. So
Thank you.
again, thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you
Camille, thank you
guys.
so much. This was so amazing.
Thank you. I had so much fun. Yay! Get it, girl. Melanin magic. We're doing
Yes,
it. We're doing the
yes,
thing. We're
girl.
sharing the compassion.
Sharing the
Yes.
compassion. And
So
again, thank you to our host, my Ivana. Yes, girl, put it up. We need to see it, girl.
it's this
It's a
shine.
little glare.
So whenever you see this,
You know
this
what it is.
is real compassion right here. These
Look, don't
are
play with her.
C's from me.
I
Okay.
love that. I love
Intentional
that.
compassion.
Thank you so much, Camille.
Thank
We'll
you
talk
guys for
to you.
having me. I look forward to continuing working together. And everyone, you know what? Hit me up. Send me a DM. I'm more than happy to talk.
Yes,
All
yes.
right.
Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
so much. Thanks for
All right.
joining us. Have a great
You're
evening,
welcome. Thank
everyone.
you. You too.
Mhm.
Bye.
Bye.